Be honest, people. How many times have you told yourself something like, I want to eat healthier, I want to be more active, I want new year, new me, new identity. At first, you're very motivated. You say affirmations, you make a plan, and then for a week or two, you actually put in the effort. But then life happens, and then you quit, and now you're back to ground zero. For most people, they don't just randomly fail their goals or their resolutions. They actually accidentally adopted a mental trap, a trap that the ancient Chinese have already warned people about. And that trap is explained in a classic folktale called 守株待兔. I thought about sharing this folktale with you because it's such a classic. We, as people who grew up in China, actually learned about this folktale back in like kindergarten, probably elementary school latest. There's a lot of folktales in Chinese culture that I think will be worth sharing later on my channel also. Today, I specifically want to talk to you about the topic of manifestation. Manifestation is a buzzword nowadays. You really hear about people all over social media, different influencers teaching you how to manifest more money, manifest wealth, right? Manifest your soulmate, manifest a healthy body. And you hear about strategies like saying affirmations to yourself, making vision boards, visualize yourself, where do you want to be in 5 years, stuff like that. And those are all fine and dandy and really helpful, of course, to help you clarify your goal of where you want to be and where exactly do you want to go. I think that's a great starting point. But here's the catch. A lot of people want those things, but they don't actually put in the action. Let me just give you 3 examples. 3 things that most people want, most people crave to have in their lives. Number 1 is financial freedom. Now, financial freedom, another buzzword, right? Everybody want to like have lots of money because money is associated with freedom of being able to have time to do whatever that you want. You're not bound to someone else's expectations to work certain hours. Financial freedom is a desire for a lot of people. And we all love the good old idea of passive income. The catch is passive income generally is not passive to begin with. And the second thing that people want is a healthy, loving relationship. Because many of y'all are looking to find the perfect, ideal partner, the soulmate, the person for you. And we're always like looking for things like compatibilities. Is this person good enough? Does this person meet my expectations? Are you an ideal partner for someone else? If you expect someone else to live up to your standards and your expectations, are you even living up to your own standards and expectations? Are you able to have hard conversations without exploding, shutting down, or getting overly emotional all the time? Do you have a healthy lifestyle that someone else admire and would want to be part of? Do you have a supportive social circle? Are you able to deal with your insecurities without projecting them and blaming someone else? Those are probably things that you want to think about before even manifesting a perfect ideal partner. And last but not least, health. For those of us who are lucky, we don't have any diseases or conditions in our 20s, so we just feed off our youth. Sometimes a lot of y'all don't really take care of your bodies in your 20s, and then you realize that there are consequences now that you're in your 30s and your 40s, and maybe your 50s, and you're just like, now I want to live a little longer without being in a wheelchair, or now I want to be free of diabetes, for example. As a dietitian, I have a fair share of stories to tell you about the people who want great, amazing health without putting in the work. So I get questions like, what are the kind of diets and products I can use to help me lose 10 kilos in 2 months? What are the superfoods that can help lower my cholesterol? What are the supplements that can help me build muscles fast? The thing is, people want results, but they often give me conditions of how they cannot change. For example, just take a few examples here. Someone goes, well, I know I need to eat less desserts to lower my cholesterol, but I can't because it's a habit that I had since childhood. How can I change that? Or I can't drink more water because water does not taste good. Or I cannot eat more vegetables because I don't know how to cook them and I don't feel like learning. I'm like, what do you want me to do, guys? Cook for you? The thing is, there's nothing wrong with wanting a healthy body, loving relationship, and financial freedom. There's nothing wrong with those. In fact, a lot of people crave those things because people intrinsically are motivated to have a better quality of life. But having a desire without taking actions towards it is just living in fantasy. Unfortunately, though, the current narratives around manifestation really makes a lot of people believe that They can just live in fantasy land and make vision boards and say affirmations, and somehow the dream is just gonna land in their lap, and somehow things are just gonna happen on its own. But the wise people of ancient China have already warned us about the consequences of passive manifestation. And this leads me to the folktale that I want to share with you today. The folktale of a farmer who waited by a tree stump for rabbits. The folktale's name is 守株待兔. 守 in this context means to stand by somewhere or to wait by somewhere. 株 means tree stump. 待 means to wait for or to anticipate for something. 兔 means rabbits. So without further ado, let me just tell you this really interesting story. Once upon a time, there was a farmer who worked really hard in his field. One day, while plowing and preparing his land, he saw a rabbit that ran really fast across his field. Suddenly, the rabbit hit a tree stump. And because the impact was so great, the rabbit broke its neck and it died on the spot. Now the farmer could not believe his luck, because now he had fresh rabbit meat for free. He had put in no effort whatsoever. Now he can feast on rabbit meat for the next week. That night, he started imagining a different life. Farm work is so difficult. I was so lucky today. What if I just wait by the same lucky tree stump and wait for more rabbits to run into it? This way, I never have to work again, and I get free food all the time. And so the next day, instead of going to plow his land and work really hard on his farm, he went to sit down by the same tree stump, waiting for rabbits. And day after day, he went to the tree stump. His fields went untilled and crops stopped growing. Over time, the farmer sank deeper and deeper into poverty, while his neighbors all just laughed at him for his foolishness. They scorned his foolishness for believing that luck would repeat itself. The end. It's a very simple story, but what is the lesson here? The surface level lesson is that you should not confuse a one-time stroke of luck as a lifelong strategy, obviously. But the deeper lesson here is this: the actions that you take and the actions you avoid taking will ultimately shape your life. I want to tie that story back to the idea of manifestation, because what you hear a lot about manifesting your dream life online right now is that they give the impression that manifestation is passive. All you need to do is to say affirmations. All you need to do is to think a different thought and repeat those thoughts to yourself. And somehow the universe or God or whatever you believe in is just gonna line things up. But when you repeat affirmations, but they are not reflected in your reality, you create what we call cognitive dissonance. I'll give an example. Let's say you want to be more confident, and you repeat to yourself, I am confident. I am a confident person. And you say that to yourself day in and day out, but you actually avoid taking the very actions that require courage and leap of faith. When you think about confidence, it does not really just come from thoughts, right? Confident people are not confident by default. Real confidence comes from experiencing life, pushing your limits. Go to the edge of your comfort zone and you slowly expand the range of your comfort zone. And that is where confidence is born. But if you just say the words, I am confident, but your actions do not reflect you as someone who is getting more confident, then you actually weaken your self-trust, because your body and your mind have now noticed the discrepancy between what you say you are and who you actually are. Your actions should do the convincing, not your words. This also explains why some people are just more trustworthy. Some people inspire your trust without even trying. If you want to tie it back to the idea of manifestation, you can even say like they manifested this identity of being a trustworthy human being. But the reason why they inspire your trust is because they trust themselves first. They have to inspire their own trust. They have to keep acting as the person who keep their own promises. They have to stay true to who they are by doing what they say they will do. Trustworthy people don't avoid honest and tough conversations with themselves, which means when you say affirmations to yourselves, your actions have to follow. And of course, I always like to share my own stories just to make the point clear. When I was 12, I moved to Canada. And by the time I arrived in Canada, I had about 2 months between that time and the start of a new school year. Now, at age 12, you just want to fit in, right? I really didn't want to be seen as that weird kid who cannot speak English properly. I was already very introverted, so the last thing you want to do is to look even more different. So I said to myself, I wanted to be fully bilingual, functional in English by the time school started. And guess what I did? I spent the entire summer, it was during the summer at the time, I spent that entire summer every single day. I watched English cartoons, I went to the library in the neighborhood to borrow books, and I read books, I would say on an almost daily basis. I took notes. I searched dictionary whenever I encounter a new word, and by the time school actually started in September, as a newcomer, I had to take an ESL test, so English as Second Language test, to decide whether I will be included in the regular classes or if I had to be partially in those special classes for the newcomers, right? And I, of course, passed the ESL test with flying colors because I was working so hard during the summer. I did not want to be in the special class. And lo and behold, I was able to integrate into the regular classes, including regular English class. Mind you, it was still very hard for me. I was getting 60s on my English tests all the time because, of course, they were functioning at a different level than me, but at least I was not failing and I didn't have to take special English classes, all thanks to the actions I took during that summer because I wanted that identity of being fully, well, almost fully, functionally bilingual in English and Chinese. My actions made that reality come true. And I borrowed those exact strategies for learning French. And for those of you who don't know, I am fully trilingual in Chinese, English, and French. And you can check out my French learning process in my video on the power of consistency, because I think that's also worth sharing. And another story I want to share is how I became a confident public speaker. I'm able to make videos for you standing in front of a camera without any issues for a reason. People are actually surprised sometimes to learn that I used to be a super shy kid. I was one of those kids who hid behind parents whenever they took me to like a social events or meet a new person. But I have to say that I'm definitely lucky enough to have parents who saw that I'm naturally a shy, introverted person, but they pushed me to go out of my comfort zone regardless. They really gave me a lot of opportunities intentionally to help expand my range of comfort with public speaking, with onstage performances, and with expressing my own voices in general. And I continued to take on opportunities later on in adolescence and in young adulthood. And all that to say is that the confidence I have to speak in front of a large crowd of people now really was built through repetition. It was built through my intention to become a confident public speaker. I wrote briefly about the story of how I became a skilled public speaker from a shy, introverted person in a very recent newsletter, and I'm gonna put the link to that newsletter in the description below so you can check it out. I think it's pretty well written, so definitely worth your time. And if you like the way I write, definitely subscribe to my newsletter because I do release a new article every single week. You probably understand by now that real manifestation does not equal to sitting around passively, making vision boards, dreaming up stuff, fantasizing, and then doing nothing about it. Real manifestation requires that you claim fully your sense of agency. It is an active process of co-creation with your life. I call it co-creation because obviously not everything is within your control. Life happens. Bad things can happen, but sometimes good things can happen. We can call those miracles. If you're actively taking actions on improving your mindset, working on your communication, working on the skills that you want to develop, working on improving your character as a person, when miracles do arrive in your life, you would then have the wisdom to recognize them as such. And you would also have the capacity to hold the miracles when they come into your life instead of sabotaging them. Because I can tell you a lot of stories of how I witnessed people sabotaging the very thing that they have been looking for their entire life. So friends, I want to leave you with two important questions. Number one, in which areas of your life are you just sitting by the tree stump like the farmer in the 守株待兔 story, hoping for luck to arrive without putting in effort? Is it your health, finance, your relationships? And the second question after that is, once you identify that area of life, what are you willing to do about it? Because you cannot think your way into a new identity. You cannot think your way, say affirmations to a new reality. Let your actions do the convincing instead. Let your actions help you build the capacity to receive the blessings when they do arrive, and let your actions turn you into the person who has the wisdom to walk into the path of miracles over and over again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel because there is more good stuff coming. I promise you, there is more good stuff coming. The channel is still young, and I really do appreciate every single one of you for subscribing and coming onto this amazing, meaningful journey with me. And I cannot wait to see what we will build this thing into. Until next time, bye for now.